Leeann Tweeden, a TV host and sports broadcaster, says Senator Al Franken kissed and groped her without her consent in 2006. The McIntyre in the Morning host wrote a first-person essay on the website for her KABC talk radio show. She detailed her encounter with the then-comedian, now a Minnesota senator, during a USO tour to entertain troops in the Middle East. Franken was the headliner for the show. Several country music artists and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders were also on the trip. Tweeden said Franken wrote skits for the tour, and like many USO shows before it and since, she says, the skits were full of sexual innuendo geared toward a young male audience. She wrote, "As a TV host and sports broadcaster, as well as a model familiar to the audience from the covers of FHM, Maxim, and Playboy, I was only expecting to MC and introduce the acts, but Franken said he had written a part for me that he thought would be funny, and I agreed to play along." In the script, Franken wrote in a kiss between him and Tweeden. She says he asked her to rehearse the kiss before the show. According to Tweeden, she told Franken they didn't need to rehearse the moment, since she planned to deny his advances for a laugh. But she says he continued to insist, and then came at me, put his hand on the back of my head, mashed his lips against mine, and aggressively stuck his tongue in my mouth. Tweeden wrote that she felt disgusted and violated. She says no one saw what happened and she let it go, but made sure she was never alone with him again on the tour. The tour wrapped, and on Christmas Eve, during their 36-hour trip back to LA, she fell asleep in her flak vest and Kevlar helmet. Later, once she was back in the US and looking through photos from the plane, she saw a picture of Franken with his hands over her chest. She wrote, "I couldn't believe it. He groped me without my consent while I was asleep. I felt violated all over again. Embarrassed, belittled, humiliated. How dare anyone grab my breasts like this and think it's funny?" Shortly after Tweeden's post, Franken released a statement through his press office. He said, "I certainly don't remember the rehearsal for the skit in the same way, but I send my sincerest apologies to Leeann." He added, "As to the photo, it was clearly intended to be funny, but wasn't. I shouldn't have done it." Sensing that the story isn't going away, Franken released a stronger, longer statement on Thursday afternoon. He apologized again to Tweeden, said that he respects women, and discussed his comedy career as well as some off-color jokes he's written in the past. He also took the next step of formally condoning a Senate investigation into his conduct in 2006, before he was elected to the Senate. He said, "I'm asking that an ethics investigation be undertaken, and I will gladly cooperate." The LA-based KABC radio host said she never told her story because she worried about potential backlash to her career. Now, spurred by her own reporting of the sexual harassment and assault claims sweeping Hollywood and other industries alike, Tweeden wrote, "I'm no longer afraid." For more on this story and to read Tweeden's full essay, go to THR.com. For The Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Tiffany Taylor.